Hello and welcome back to another video. So in this video I'm just going to give you a brief overview of the events of the opening ceremony of Blizzcon 2014. Now throughout the rest of the con, my coverage is just going to be a bit more, specific on a game by game basis where I can just collate a whole bunch of information and just put together one nice video. That's the general plan. Though I think it's very important that, of course, there's just a video to explain what the hell has been announced. Generally, all of the announcements do happen during the opening ceremony. Now, the big thing that was announced, was Overwatch. And Overwatch is Blizzard's new first-person shooter. It looks really cool. You can already check out my video about that on the channel, though, because I wanted to get that out really quick, because really, I was just pretty damn excited about it. So yeah, that's what's going on with Overwatch. Now, next up, let's talk about their other franchises. First of all, World of Warcraft. Well, there's a World of Warcraft panel scheduled later on tonight, and a panel for the Warcraft movie. Other than that, they didn't really talk about anything on the in the opening ceremony about World of Warcraft. No announcements or anything like that. But of course, that is to be expected because Warlords of Draenor is coming on Thursday. Yeah, there was the Eye of Ashara leak, but I know that, in the video I said that I didn't really think it would be too likely, and yeah, that's turned out to be the case. Though certainly, many parts of it did seem quite credible, and did seem like they would make sense, and perhaps that's something that will actually happen in the future. Hard to know. So, let's move on to the other franchises. In terms of Diablo 3, well, again, nothing was really talked about. In fact, Diablo 3, I don't believe was even mentioned during the ceremony. All the content was with Heroes of the Storm, Hearthstone, and then of course StarCraft 2. So let's start off with StarCraft 2. We've got Legacy of the Void coming on the way. Now Legacy of the Void is a traditional StarCraft expansion in the sense that it's got a single player mode, like a new campaign. It's got some new multiplayer units. They confirmed the Lurker. We'll find out more about that in a minute. But the interesting thing is that it is a complete standalone expansion. You don't need to own the base game. I think that's actually a pretty good decision. Now, it will be extremely confusing from a narrative perspective. Like, the story is a follow-on. It's the basic, conclusion of what happened in the first two games. So it's weird that that's happening, but it does make sense because, the barrier to entry to StarCraft 2 for a new player is pretty high if they've got to get both Wings of Liberty, not Heroes of the Storm, the Heart of the Swarm, and, and then Legacy of the Void. Now, in the single player, they said that we will be playing as Artanis. We'll be going around trying to, reunite all these kind of split apart Protoss factions, give them all, bring them all together, retake Ire, do a bunch of stuff with Xel'Naga. Kerrigan and Raynor will probably be involved, and it's going to be the end of the story for those, StarCraft characters that we know from the very first game. We don't know if they're going to die or anything like that. It's just going to be the end of their main plot arc. So overall, I think it sounds pretty cool. There's also a new thing called Archon Mode. I think there's one or two other game modes, but the one they talked about in the opening ceremony was Archon Mode. This seems really cool. Basically, it's a two-player mode, well, two-player per team mode, where two people can control the same team. So one person could be controlling the base and the economy, and the other could be controlling the army. I think that's really good because it just adds this nice level of teamwork in, and it's also very accessible, but I think also would have a lot of fun, and the skill ceiling in a way would be pretty decent, because if you have one person focusing on having a good economy and one person focusing on using the army well, then I think you'll get more sort of memorable games from worse players than you previously would have got, so that's really cool. Now let's talk about the other franchises. So first of all, for Heroes of the Storm, the good news is that in, sometime 13th of January 2015 is when the closed beta will start. Odd that it's closed, but I'd imagine it will be a pretty open closed beta, and they'll probably try to get into an open beta very quick. Because, well, it's been an alpha for so long that that just makes sense. Now, in terms of announcements, they announced 2 new maps, which both looked pretty cool, and also 3 new heroes, Jaina, Thrall, and the, oh wow, I've forgotten their names, the Dwarf people, yes, the Lost Vikings, from, one of the classic Blizzard titles. In terms of other things, they're adding in the ranked play feature soon, and also they're adding in some new skins and various things like that. So really, it's just more content for heroes, and the closed beta is coming pretty soon. Now finally, we've got Hearthstone, and Hearthstone is another major announcement. Hearthstone, Goblins, and Gnomes is the new Hearthstone expansion. This will be coming out next month, and will feature a grand total of 120 plus new cards, which I think is really good. Hearthstone certainly needed new cards to just revitalize the game and keep it interesting, and that's absolutely what this expansion is, I think, aiming to do. So that's definitely nice. These cards will be purchasable, basically just by, buying a new kind of booster pack, and that will be purchasable with in-game currency and money, just like the current booster packs. That's really good because if you want the new cards, well, then you can just spend your gold on the packs that contain them. So really, it's your traditional CCG card expansion. In terms of other things, I think there's a new board coming out and, all that regular stuff, but the main thing is that there's a big new expansion. And of course, coming next month, which is really quick. Another cool bit of news is that the Android tablet version of Hearthstone is also on the way, and it should arrive in December. And really, that is about it for everything that Blizzard has. I'm just going to double check my notes here, and yeah, that's about it. Of course, we've got the Warcraft movie coming up. I'm pretty sure we'll see some sort of teaser. In fact, they actually flat out said at the opening ceremony that the Warcraft movie panel is coming, and they also have a theater set up somewhere in Blizzcon where you can go and see some early clips from the movie. So I'm sure we'll get some footage out, and it'll be really exciting to cover that. So yeah, that's basically the larger picture of what's going on at BlizzCon. Not so much for WoW and Diablo, but I've got to say the other, in terms of the larger picture, Blizzard are certainly firing on all cylinders, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes of some of these games. Also, 2015 is going to be a packed year. We'll have Heroes of the Storm, we'll have the beta, testing period for Overwatch, we'll probably have lots of new Hearthstone content, of course, we might have a new WoW expansion, at least we will have, new WoW content patches. It should be really good. And then, of course, Legacy of the Void, which I'd imagine will probably come out late next year or something. So yeah, overall, lots of good stuff. Thanks for watching the video. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.